Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email drjacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn KERBECK. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network. Our show today is Aging Gracefully and with Humor. Let's welcome the star of our show, Kathy Fulton, and find out what she's been up to, and then we'll bring out our special guest. Hi, Kathy.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Hi, it's nice to see you, looking very radiant today.
Oh, well, thank you. Haven't had much sleep lately, but that's normal. Maybe it's the lighting.
Well, the lighting's good then. Embrace it.
Good. Good.
So, Kathy, for people who are joining us for the first time on this show, I feel that this is a topic that is really relevant to everyone and anyone who wants to have a good experience aging. And as we know, people are living longer and longer, but we want to live longer and be healthy at the same time. So can you share with us a little bit about your background in this area? Because I know people know you and connect with you as an interior designer, but you have another business and a whole other way of helping people and bringing value. So tell us more, please.
Yeah, well, so I have a mother that is, as we all do, she's 91 years old. And let's see, back in 2010, she was diagnosed with vascular dementia as a result of 2 strokes back to back. Anyway, long story short, I just felt like there was a huge disconnect in this field. So I decided to start my own home care agency, and in an effort to help people age in place at a very affordable price. And so we've been going strong since, I guess, 2014. And what we do is we provide caregivers to go into clients' homes, and they basically just help them with the daily activities of living. So that's what we do.
And it's so important what you do. And you and I have had many conversations about this area. I just wanted to spotlight our guest from last week. I actually purchased Tracy Cram-Perkins' book, and my sister has a copy as well. Actually, she purchased both copies for us, which is wonderful. So I feel like we are really bringing value in terms of the guests that you're bringing, the work that you're doing, Kathy. And I just want to say thank you and how much I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and just as a side note, I got your voice message. My life's been a blur these last couple of days, but I got your voice text, and thank you because you basically said the same thing. I lost a very, very dear friend to terminal liver cancer, and she was. The last time I saw her was Saturday afternoon, and I had no idea it was going to be for the last time. But she was supposed to be able to live for at least a few more weeks, but it just came on suddenly, and just awful. But I know that she is in a much better place, and she had the brightest light everywhere that she went. She was the brightest light in the room. And I am so honored to have been her friend and to have had her friendship for 22 years. I don't know if I was as good a friend to her as she was to me, but at her end of life, her family stepped up and they were incredible to her and for her. And, it's just it's cancer is just it's a horrible, horrible disease. And um, it's just amazing how it rears its ugly head and then metastasizes, and then you're just gone in flash. But my hat is really off to her family, and they took amazing care of her. And had they not been there for her, because it got to where she couldn't walk, so I know that she would have experienced falls and just basically like everything that we're going to talk about today. So anyway, I just give my friend Jay Park a big salute.
Kathy, thank you for sharing that. I'm going to start crying now myself.
Oh,
Let's have a
no.
moment of silence for your friend.
Yeah, no, look, it's you don't have to have silence for her, because she was such a huge Christian, and she is so happy right now. And she was such an inspiration to me and everyone that knew her in terms of Christianity. And I'm a Christian. I was raised Christian, and we all have different beliefs, and I can appreciate those. But she is happy. She is happy. It's our loss. And but thank you. I didn't mean to steal the thunder of the show, but I just couldn't help but give, because they watch, and I just couldn't help but give such a a round of applause for the care that they provided for her, which is, it's pretty much what we're talking about. But she would have had significant fall because she couldn't walk. She couldn't walk. She developed a tumor on her spine, and it's my understanding that that's how it all metastasized. But but this what we're going to talk about today, it will be so great for situations such as this as well. So and our guest is an amazing person, and I had the great good fortune of being introduced to her through, we have a mutual friend, Hugh Reese, which he's one of your friends too. He actually was our first guest on Aging Gracefully. So I'm thrilled to have her on and see what she has to say.
Wonderful. Thank you, Kathy, for your transparency, and a shout out to your friends, family, and our thoughts are with them and with you. And again, thanks for showing up today. It must be difficult, but we will rejoice in the fact that we have a guest here today who has changed careers, which I think is really cool. When somebody's doing something for a long time and they have this sense of curiosity and they want to go and explore and say, what else is out there? And creating a technology that is being offered to people for scenarios like what you just shared. Any one of us is susceptible to falling, especially as the bathroom is a place that any of us could have issues. And if there's technology out there, which there is, to help us be safe, then let's learn more about it. So our guest today is the Vice President of Marketing and Sales for StackCare, and her name is Natalie. Let's bring her out. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning, Kathy. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited. This is fun.
Thanks for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. And as you heard, what I was just sharing with Kathy and with the world really is that any of us are susceptible to having things happen in our home, things that could be extremely dangerous. We could be living by ourselves, and we need to know what is the latest and greatest technology that is out there to help us age gracefully. But before we get into the technology, tell us, Natalie, a little bit about your background. I mentioned that you changed careers, which is always fabulous. Do tell us more.
Right. So I was working in the European fragrance and cosmetic industries for many years, working as for a big fragrance creator and supplier. And it was really exciting. I was in touch with all these wonderful companies. I lived in Paris, I lived in Amsterdam, lived all over Europe, and it was really fun. And then a few years ago, I moved to the States, and I just really found a new purpose for myself. Because, as we move on in life, we experience a lot of things. And I really never thought I was going to start working for a software company, but here we go. So I'm now, I'm part of the founding team of StackCare, a amazing technology that is, coming out right now, is rolling out. I mean, we've been around since 2017, working in the senior care environment, and I just really love it. And I like to say it's peace of mind in your pocket. And as Kathy pointed out so well, just hearing her story was very touching and really shows also the vulnerabilities of people that care for loved ones in no matter, whatever situation now. So we mainly address people, older adults, but obviously our system works for all sorts of situations. In other words, giving peace of mind to the families that are caring for somebody, and making sure that these people stay independent and healthy for longer. And the best way to do that is by getting on top of things at an early stage, making sure that if there's an issue that's developing, that you can take care of it, that you heal it, that you go to the doctor, or that you actually, if somebody falls, that you can help them quickly. So this, yeah, sorry.
No, that was a great answer. Go ahead, continue, please.
Right, and so our technology is very interesting. We cannot avoid falls. We cannot avoid certain issues happening. But it is proven over and over again that if you deal with things early on, I will give you a statistic. For instance, if you find somebody who's fallen within an hour, the chances of recovery and, retaining your independence and staying, staying independent, not having to move maybe into long-term care, not ending up in the hospital, all these things is so much higher. Only 12% of the people that fall and are found within the hour maybe will suffer worse consequences. It depends on the type of fall. But if they don't, every month, every hour that a person is lying on the ground and without being found will increase the likelihood that within the next 6 months they will actually pass away. So our system, and I will go more into details how it does that. I like to call it magic because it kind of is in the person's home and discovers all these issues 24/7 in the dark when nobody's there, when the person is alone, and is able to alert loved ones and caregivers that there's an issue and that their older adult, like their mom or their dad or their friend or whoever needs help, so that they can go in and help them quickly.
I'm fascinated to hear more about this, especially you had mentioned when someone's fallen for an hour. We hear stories about somebody being in their house for 3 days, right? And nobody's found them. And in those cases, who knows what's going to happen, but it's probably not as likely as if they're found after an hour, to your point. So please do tell us about the technology. How does it work?
Right. So what we do is we have these small little infrared motion sensors. I'm going to show you one. They're tiny, as you can see, a little bit of the sunlight in my face, but really very small, very discreet. You set them up into the different areas of your home, the bedroom, bathroom, favorite room, kitchen, and they gather motion data. And that's, that motion data, all that data gets sent to our cloud, where we do our magic with our data science and our machine learning, our AI, and we're able to then analyze all this data and understand that, after a few days, we establish a baseline of how that person's, what that person's typical habits and routines are. And after a few days, once we know that, this is how many hours they typically sleep, how often they go to the bathroom, how much, they open the fridge, and so on. And anything that deviates from that typical baseline, that's where we will send out alerts to families and caregivers onto their app or a portal if we work with professionals. And that way they know within, for instance, if somebody falls in the bathroom or has an issue in the bathroom at night, within 15 minutes, our system will send out an alert, say, your mom or Mrs. Jones needs help. We don't know what it is. We're not a camera. That's very important. We're not a microphone. It's extremely private. It's discreet. It really is just motion, ones and zeros. And we will analyze if there's motion or no motion. And this allows us to, create all these actionable insights and allow, provide that care to the person when they need it. And it's not just falls, it's a lot of other issues. For instance, if a person goes to the bathroom a lot, we could say, well, maybe there's a UTI. You treat a UTI early, you get the people to the doctor, they get antibiotics, all is good. You don't, if these things are not discovered for a few days, weeks even, this could, lead to sepsis, having to go to the hospital and possible death. So again, there's so many different things that we can discover with these little motion sensors. I like to say small but mighty. They give you a ton of information, and all this at a very affordable level. For families, it's the technology is easy to install and easy to use. And again, the beauty of it is that it's completely passive, and that the senior never has to do anything. Once it's set up, they actually forget it's there after a few days, because these motion sensors are so discreet and blend in so well into the home decor. There's no flashing lights. There's nothing to charge, nothing to press. So that's the beauty of it.
It's fascinating. I love it. Are you able to distinguish if they have pets in the house, for example, that it's not them? I guess you just get familiar with the pet's activity.
Right. So this is an important factor. We cannot distinguish if it's a pet that's over 50, 60 pounds, because we're just motions. It's just infrared motion sensor. As I say, ones and zeros. So if there's an 80-pound dog, we don't know if it's an 80-pound dog or an 80-pound person. But dogs that are under, well, my dog, for instance, gets filtered out and she's 60 pounds. She should be less, but that's another issue. But anyway, so that works. And cats and all that, no problem. If there's multiple cats and they have a party time every night, then, we have issues. Our system doesn't know the difference. But we like to say generally, older adults, don't have a big German Shepherd or so, that's a difficult situation anyway to handle, or somebody who needs added care. So yeah, that's.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say usually seniors have smaller dogs, at least what I've seen living in South Florida.
Exactly. Yeah.
Kathy,
that's not a problem.
Yeah. So I've done a lot of reading up on falls and so on and so forth. And one thing that I found, so these are some statistics that I've come up with, and, Natalie, you can confirm, but it's my understanding that every 19 minutes, an elderly person dies of a fall. Every 11 seconds, an elderly person is being treated in the emergency room for a fall. And on an annual basis, anywhere from 700,000 to 1 million elderly people fall.
That's right.
Those are, right. I mean, so perhaps for our audience, hopefully that puts it into perspective as to these falls happen. I mean, and like you said, Natalie, and it's like I always tell my clients, I cannot prevent a fall. If I could prevent a fall, I would be the richest person on the planet. But no one can do that. I mean, technology hasn't come up with that yet, right? Or a robot. But I mean, it's so, to my point is, it's so critical to have something like this in place, because I mean, if you look at the statistics and listen to what I just said, not to be a negative Nancy, but I mean, it's not if, it's when your loved one is going to fall. I mean, it's just, it's like, you would be very wise to look at it as this is a reality. It's not if, it's when.
That's right. And I will say, it's my grandmother fell and she laid on the ground for 4 hours and passed away a month later. And the month was terrible. It was in the hospital. She had broken her ribs trying to get up. I mean, there's so many things that can happen. So as I say, if you can find somebody soon, then you can help them. And a lot of these people don't die of the injuries of the fall. They die of related causes. And, maybe laying there on the floor. They also have, they don't get hydrated. I mean, there's so many other issues that can cause a person to really have to go to the hospital and possibly die after a fall. So as I say, we cannot avoid the falls, but if we can see that they happen quickly and help the person, that's a huge benefit. And even the value of our system is that the person is not all distressed, laying there scared, wondering when is somebody going to find me, knowing maybe that they fell on a Friday night and the caregiver is only coming back in on a Monday morning. I mean, all that is also, very traumatic. But I would like to say also, we don't just look at falls. And just recently, I will say it's a very powerful story. StackCare was actually, frequently helps people to such an extent. We have a customer where we set up the system actually in the Leesburg area here in Virginia. And this poor lady, who's very sharp and who, really alert most of the time, but I think, maybe sometimes she doesn't always know what she's doing. In any case, she had turned on her gas fireplace on a Friday afternoon, and it was 95 degrees outside. Because we also monitor temperature, our system was able to send out an alert when the temperature reached 95 degrees in her home. And we worked with a home care agency who called her, woke her up because she had fallen asleep. By the time they called her, the temperature had reached 113. And since I know where the system is set up in her home, her armchair is right by the gas fireplace. I believe that the temperature around her armchair was probably between 120 and 130 degrees. She got the call. She woke up. She obviously fell asleep, probably with all that heat around her. Was able to turn off the fireplace and turn up the air conditioning, and the temperature went back to normal. If our system had not detected this high temperature in her home, goodness knows what could have happened. As we know, hypothermia, hyperthermia, all these things are also big issues. Older adults don't regulate the temperature as well as we do when we're younger. And that's another way StackCare can help people. So it's not just the falls. The falls are a big deal, but there's so many other things, that you can, where if you have that early awareness of a situation where you can, help, call the person, go there, do something to keep them safe and healthy.
Yeah.
Wow. It's a powerful story.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. But back to your point about the UTIs. So I myself, when I get one, it goes from 0 to 100 in a few hours, meaning I am sick. And I'm one of those that even when I'm sick, I just prefer to try to motor through, but a UTI will get me down. But an elderly person, I think with the general public doesn't understand about UTIs is that in the elderly, they lose a lot of sensation. And just from the sheer fact of aging. And so they don't even know that they are having problems urinating. And
Exactly.
I mean, yeah. And so just for me, because I'm forced to go to the doctor immediately, I have to get an antibiotic on board, like immediately. And, I go in and they're like, what are you here for? And I'm like, I have a UTI. And they're like, well, we can't be so sure. And I'm like, I'm as sure as when a female knows that she's pregnant. I know what I have, and by that point I'm like, don't argue with me. Just give me the medicine, but, and if I didn't know that, I would just, I know that I would have to be hospitalized. And so to your point of giving the loved ones the heads up about, look, they're going to the bathroom, if the normal ratio is 4 to 6 times a day and they're going 12 to 20, there's something going on, and because it can turn into kidney infections. I mean, people die over UTI.
Exactly. That's right. And the beauty of our app also is that it's very visual, that you'll have these bars, which can show you, the trend over the last few days. So you visually see that there's this increased bathroom usage. It's not just a notification or text, it shows it to you. So it's easy to detect. So that's an issue. But we know also even other things, for instance, if your diabetes gets worse, one of the symptoms is, the main symptoms are increased thirst, increased hunger, and increased bathroom usage. Well, StackCare can detect all of these things. We put a contact sensor on the fridge door, and we have a kitchen motion sensor in the kitchen, so we can see how much activity there's in the kitchen. So, if there's an increased usage of the kitchen, increased opening of the fridge, or, that would indicate increased, drinking or eating, we could see that along with the increased bathroom usage, because they go hand in hand. And we've had it where we have been able to, the home care agency was able to detect this and was able to then adjust the medication, take the client to the doctor, or the family takes the client, it takes their loved one to the doctor, and is able then to adjust the medications and help them. And again, also with the kitchen activity, that's another big feature. A lot of people, in the high 70s percent of older adults actually are malnourished. Now, we can't see what they're eating, but we will send out a notification if a few consecutive meals have been missed, or even after one consecutive meal, because we say there's something that's wrong. Okay, maybe the person on that day went to the restaurant and didn't need to use the kitchen. Fine, the system sends out a notification. You call your loved one, you call your client, you find out everything is fine. Good, but better, safe than sorry, and knowing that, these things are developing. I experienced that also in my own family with my father, who stopped eating, somebody who really loved food. And, the system was able to detect that there was an issue and that he needed help. So that's another way how StackCare can help families, or can help the older adult. And the main purpose is really to keep them healthy and well, for as long as possible, so that they can stay independent, they can stay in their home, not have to move into a nursing home, not end up in the hospital. And another important aspect of all that is not just the sad story, of having to move out of your own home, but also the related cost. I always like to say, StackCare, you have the predictable expense versus the unpredictable costs, which are incurred through hospitalizations or having to move into long-term care.
Natalie, thank you for sharing that. In terms of installation, it looks like from your website, it's fairly easy. There's a Wi-Fi gateway, and there's some sensors. There's the app. Tell us a little bit about that installation, and can we do it ourselves?
Yes, everybody can do it. I do it, so that means a lot. It's actually pretty easy. It takes 15 minutes when you do it for the first time. We have very clear instructions, and we're always there to hold your hand. If you call us, we will give you direct technical support while you're doing the installation. These little sensors get attached with little command strips. So there's no drilling, no holes, and you just set them up in the different rooms. And yes, you have a gateway. So the gateway needs to be plugged in. The sensors are battery operated, and the battery life is very long, 2 years. And also the batteries are very easy to change. And it's really simple. And then you download the app, and you have all that information on your phone, on your mobile device within basically a day. You could start seeing information already, a couple of days, and you'll have a good picture of that person's patterns and routines.
Thank you. And can you also tell us about how easy it is to buy? Go right to the website and you have choices.
Yes, absolutely. So we have a shop on our website. The website is up there, stack.care. And we have, you just order it, and it's a $95 subscription per month. So we will provide the hardware. We don't ask you to buy expensive hardware, and just ask for it back when you don't need it anymore. If you can send it back to us, that's great. But other than that, you have that $95 a month subscription, and that's it. And that's, it just runs all the time. As I say, passive monitoring. No interaction required by the senior. And even you, if you use it for your loved one or for your client, you can really use it purely, in a reactive manner. Just wait for the notifications to come in and then respond to those. But if you want to look at the data proactively, it's so much information on our app, that shows you how sleep patterns changing. You can look at the history, maybe the person is sleeping less hours now. Well, how did they sleep a few months ago, and so on. So that's a little bit more, a proactive approach on how to improve the care for somebody if you want to do that. But again, you can also just wait for the notifications to come in.
Thank you. I have a question. Is it possible to have a sensor on or near the door in case they leave the house?
Very good question. Yes, we have these contact sensors. So we have one on the fridge door, as I was explaining, and we have one on the exit door. Very important, because again, a lot of people, especially people that suffer from Alzheimer's or other cognitive decline, will wander, will leave the house, and our system will send out an alert immediately within seconds of the door opening, especially, if it's set up. You can customize all these thresholds and all these notification settings according to your needs. By default, it's set between midnight and 5 a.m. So if somebody leaves the home in the middle of the night, you will get an instant alert. And that's very useful. Even the system even works for couples. It's not just for people who live alone. Again, I have a good case study there. My in-laws, long before StackCare existed, but my father-in-law had cognitive decline and was regularly going out of the house in the middle of the night. He felt like he couldn't breathe, and really, literally, he's passed away now. But for the last 3 years of his life, my mother-in-law just didn't even get any sleep because she always had to worry about something happening. Now, if she had a StackCare system, an app on her phone, she would have known that she would have gotten a notification if there was an issue. And even just to go grocery shopping, when you're a caregiver, you know how difficult that can become when you get worried that you're going to be out of the house for a while and something might happen while you're gone.
I really can see this as an option for everyone and anyone. Because I mean, I'm 59. I've fallen twice when I was out running, for example, but tripped over the pavement one day. And of course that's different because you're not in the home, but it can happen anywhere to anyone. So my next question for you is, depending on the space that you live in, if we expand beyond senior care, for example, does it matter if you live in a huge home or an apartment, or you live out in a little teepee? Does it matter how many sensors you need more sensors?
Yes, it depends. I mean, the artificial intelligence is very clever. So you don't need to set up sensors all over the place because it understands, again, favorite room is a big deal. I do have some clients where, for instance, there are a couple, one client, for instance, as an example, he likes to sit in a den and she likes to sit in the living room. So we put up an extra sensor. We will provide extra sensors if needed. So for bigger homes, it is useful at times to have extra sensors, or there's other ways to do that. But we will help, the client. We will guide them through the process. We also provide a help button. I don't have one on my desk right now, unfortunately, but the little help button does allow you to press it and to get immediate attention. So we recommend to set it up. Again, it gets stuck to the wall. It's not something that they carry around, where there's the benefit because at least they know where it is. But you put it in the bedroom, bathroom, or wherever you think that you might want to have a button that's easily reachable, where you can actually press it when you need help. Some people put it onto their bedpost. If they wake up and they feel faint and they don't want to worry about finding their phone and they want to call their loved ones, they can press that button and it doesn't go to 911. It goes to the families and the caregivers, and it alerts them that this person needs help within seconds. Again, 3 to 7 seconds is the delay to send out that help notification.
Thank you very much.
One other, I guess maybe we could categorize it as benefit, as how I see utilizing this product is because it is so cost effective. It's a great, almost not replacement, but probably replacement for families where sometimes the cost is so expensive to have a caregiver in place that perhaps for the time being, this will do the trick, fill the bill. So this is another way to utilize it, because what I hear very frequently in my business is, gosh, we'd love to use you. And it's not that your price is so expensive. It's just the number of hours that we're going to need, times 31 days or 30 days a month. It's just, we don't have that kind of cash. And I get it. And so for once, I finally have an alternative. No, it doesn't make the meals for the client. No, it doesn't help them shower, but it certainly can assist with checking some of the other boxes. And also, another, I guess, pushback that I get or that I hear from client families is that mom or dad are adamant that they do not need any help, or not only do they not need any help, but they don't want anybody else in their house. And to a large degree, I understand that. And I understand that because of my personality. I'm not one to be fussed over, or I like to do things myself. I like my space. I like my peace. And having to deal with somebody else. And I can only imagine as I get older, I'm probably going to get worse about it. And so I understand all that. So I can really see where this is, can check some boxes for families where they have these two situations at hand. Because I mean, it's just amazing how, I mean, like my own mother swears she doesn't need any help, swears she can be alone. And I'm like, no, you
I
can't.
know. And that's
No.
very true. Yeah, I know. And you're very right. And that's how we actually work, with our home care partners like you, where we say, okay, they offer it in two ways. They offer it as a standalone solution for those families that are maybe not able to afford the home care yet, that maybe have a home care budget or a care budget for their loved ones, and they want to make sure that it lasts, so they might say at first, well, let's try this monitoring system. And the monitoring system is going to be a great way also to see, to get all that data to understand, if the care levels need to be changed, if they need to get more care. You will see that on the app. So the standalone solution, either for families if they buy it themselves on the internet or go via a home care agency, which is also a very interesting way to work. Like if somebody works with you, that you are actually the person that will monitor their loved ones, because maybe they live in California and their loved one lives in Sterling, Virginia, and they're far away, and there's a time change, and so there's at least an organization at a much lower cost than having home care can provide them that monitoring and response service, so that if something does happen with their mom or dad, that home care agency is there, or that professional partner is there to go and check in on mom and help them and at least know about it. As I told you about this lady who had this heat issue. I mean, the family lives very far away. I think they live in Washington State. There's nothing they could have done at that moment. Okay, they could also have made that call, but again, going via home care agency was very helpful, and they're the ones keeping an eye on this lady. And the other thing is just even with care hours, sometimes maybe you can reduce the necessary care hours, but imagine somebody gets 2 hours of care a day instead of maybe 4, but the rest of the time they are alone. So the minute the caregiver leaves, anything can happen. And let's say the caregiver only comes back the next day at 8 a.m. Well, StackCare is there to kind of complement that care, because again, we don't replace human care, but we can really complement it and give support to families and the elderly.
Yeah. And NATHALIE, is it correct that because it's software, any updates that or upgrades that come with the system are automatically sent through when you have the app? The upgrades come naturally.
Exactly. Everything is over the air. Nothing. You don't need to do anything. It will just update itself. And we are constantly working on new features. I'm really excited about our latest features, where you can actually on the app, even so far it was just something that we offer to our professional partners, but now families can have the same thing. Where on the app you can get the history going back really as long as the system has been there, so that you can yourself as a family check in on, well, what was mom's eating habits a few weeks ago or a few months ago, and so on. And there's always something new happening. So currently you need Wi-Fi to install it, but we are coming out with the LTE version this fall. It's basically ready to go. It's a little bit, with the whole supply of microchips, we had been a little bit delayed, but that's very helpful too. I live out here in Virginia, and many people just don't have good internet. So it's helpful to have that LTE solution as well.
Yes, absolutely. And we do have a global audience. I'm just wondering, people might be like, oh, can I get this regardless of where I live? So what is your area for distribution?
You can, absolutely. You can order it and we'll send it to you, and it works everywhere. It's an app, not a problem. We do have a company an affiliate company in the UK and in Switzerland, France, France, Italy. So that the possibility where you have a direct access to a company there, but otherwise, I just had a request for somebody in Ireland. I'm going to install it with my aunt who lives in Germany. I'm going to visit her in a couple of weeks, and I'm just going to have the app. Okay, so it's true. I live, there's a time difference of 6 hours. I can't always see, but I have one of her, neighbors or friends on the app so that they can help her if there's a problem.
Well, congratulations. This is really exciting. I'm going to be having a chat with my own family. So
that's good. Absolutely.
Yeah, over the years, I have had some very, I guess you could say, stern conversations with some of my client family members, and probably the one that is the most memorable was her son called me and said, we're only going to need about 4 hours of care for mom a day. And so I said, okay. So then I took down all the specifics about her. We get there, and it's really, he gave me about 50% of the information. He forgot to tell me that she was legally blind, that she had early onset dementia, and that she had osteoporosis so bad that she could only, her standing up straight would be from the waist, bending over from the waist. And so this went on for a few days. And finally, I just called him, and people can't believe that I am so blunt and upfront about this. But, I just remember saying to him, okay, so yeah, we've got these 4 hours covered, but what about the other 20 hours? Your mom cannot even see what's in the refrigerator. I mean, how are we going to do this? I mean, and we had about an hour-long conversation, and I mean, there was a lot of pushback from him, and I just told him I said, this is wrong on multiple levels, and she needs 24-hour care. And I mean, so I have no problem telling people, this needs to be implemented into your loved one's home. Things like this, they really do need to be incorporated. This needs to be just as a critical incorporation as medication reminders, because I mean, I have two horrifying stories. Well, I mean, I've got more than that, but two that really ring a bell anytime I start thinking about falls. This was a female in her 70s, and she lived in a townhouse by herself, and she fell down from the top of her stairs, and her staircase was like a ski slope, like the most advanced ski slope. And she lay there for not one, not two, but for 3 days. And the other problem and she had a stroke at the top of the stairs, apparently, and that's what caused the fall. But then, to even make matters worse, nobody knew that she was a hoarder. So then when finally someone realized that she was missing, the emergency crews, like the fire department, they had to knock the door down to get in. I mean, and so she had a really horrible time recovering from this stroke. But I mean, she ultimately did. But I mean, it's just what a waste. What a waste of time. And maybe she wouldn't have been like completely cured or gone back to normal, but at least there would have been perhaps a better baseline. Then another one is my own mom that got away from me and was in my bathroom, shouldn't have been, doing something she wasn't supposed to be doing, which was getting the hairspray, bent down to pick it up. When she came back up, she went all the way back, hit her head, broke 7 ribs and 2 vertebrae. If I had not been there, I mean, who knows? I mean, she couldn't get up. So I mean, that's why I say, I mean, people they need to incorporate this safety net just as they would incorporate, okay, mom, dad, you've got to take your medication, because falls are, it was hard enough for me to, when I broke my wrist several years ago, just to kind of get back to normal. It took a real toll on me. So add 30, 40 years to that. And people just think, okay, well, they're going to fall, they're going to go back to normal. No, they're not. They're not. They're going to have a hard time. So.
And I know that the time is up almost, but I did want to kind of say also, like, for instance, in the case of the one client that you just spoke about, our system would have detected that there was no motion in the home when there should be, and that's how we would have sent out an alert. So even though she fell outside of the home, we would have been able to detect that. We would have been able to detect that there's an issue, because, if she's normally in our home and all of a sudden there's no motion, then our system does send out this alert to say there's no motion in the home after so many hours. You can set all that to however many hours you want. You can set it from 1 hour to, depends a little bit on the person, the habit. But that's one of the ways that we detect a fall, when there's no motion when there should be. So, that's how we can help people in that situation.
Thank you, Natalie, for being such an amazing guest. If you would kindly give your contact information for people who cannot read the banner or they're listening on the radio, what's the best way to contact you, and who would you like to reach out?
Yes. So anybody who has a loved one who wants that peace of mind, is very welcome to reach out to me. They're welcome to call me directly or to email me. My email is natalie@stack.care, and my phone number is 941-400-0794. And I also, again, I work a lot with professional companies, professional home care companies, home health care. So anybody in that field. We also are obviously in retirement communities. Didn't want to get into that subject too much, but of a huge benefit. So really, basically, everybody who knows somebody who's aging in an environment and needs that extra safety net, that extra security system to stay healthier and safer for longer.
Thank you very much. It's www.StackCare. It's StackCare without the dot in the middle, right?
Yes, you can do that too, but our initial address is stack.care. In the meantime, we have the StackCare address as well, so you will be guided either way to our website.
Excellent. Well, thank you for being here today and providing this incredibly relevant information. I really feel it's relevant for everyone, because if we're lucky enough to keep aging, being here, we can have this peace of mind. So peace of mind in your pocket.
Thank you very much for having me. It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you.
Bye for now. Thank you so much, Kathy, for bringing Natalie to this platform. I'm really excited to have a chat with my own family, as I mentioned, about this. So please do tell us how people can reach out to you, and who would you like to contact you?
Well, anyone that needs home care for their loved one, I would love the opportunity to work with you. So the name of my company is Stay at Home Care. And probably the way that most people contact me is they just give me a call. So that number is 703-402-1172. And yeah, I'm just thrilled that Natalie would come on and talk about this product today. And I can't encourage people enough to get this product and implement it into their home. One piece of information that I left out is that the example that I gave of my mom, the 7 ribs and 2 vertebrae that were broken. I found her, took her to the hospital, and I mean, long story short, when I talked to the trauma surgeon, he said she has a 4% chance of living. Now, my mom has not, 9 lives. She has like 50 lives. And I mean, within 3 days, she was out of the hospital. But that's not the norm. So that I'm just driving home the point as to everyone needs to get this in place in their home. And a 4% chance of living just from a fall in the bathroom. I don't know. Need I say more?
Thank you, Kathy. I look forward to seeing you again for our next show, which is coming up right after this, literally in 10 minutes. So
Okay.
we're going to sign off for today, but I do want to just share that I'll be doing a book review of this fabulous book, Dementia Home Care, How to Prepare Before, During, and After, and again by Tracy Cram Perkins. I'll be reviewing this live on Friday on Dr. Jacalyn's book club. So do join
Awesome.
us for that. Yes. All right. Kathy and I are headed over to the other studio. We look forward to having you join us there for What's Trending. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, USA Global TV and Radio, where you can find all of our 29 live weekly shows. All right. Bye for now.